Hey kids, there's the house that your father grew up in. We lived in this house for 5 years. I used to have a dog named Smokey, and this was the only time I had a dog. But the fence is still the same and everything. But yeah, we lived here for 5 years from it was in the 80s. I think we lived here from like 1980 to 85. I'm not quite sure. But this is where your father, one of the houses I grew up in out here in South Seattle. I used to do my karate in the front yard right here. That deck wasn't there before in the back, but yeah, house pretty much looks the same. Yep. There's another one. There it is, kids. What is projection?
We're going to do projection if we are the challenged part of the family by the scapegoat, often a truth teller or someone who just doesn't see it the way the dysfunctional family sees it. And then projection is simply, I'm going to blame you for everything I think, I feel, and I do. And I'm going to accuse you of doing that, feeling that, and thinking that. That's projection. In other words, I'm not a narcissist. You're a narcissist. You're the real narcissist as the scapegoat.
And that what Janine just said in her comments on one of the videos. I'm the narcissist. You're not a narcissist. I am.
But I'm not a narcissist. And again, it gets pretty classic sometimes, where it's kind of just obvious what's going on. And we even see that in all parts of our society, where there's a lot of projection going on. And the people who are narcissistic are doing what they are accusing others of doing.
So your best defense against narcissistic individuals projecting onto you is to trust your gut, trust your instincts, and definitely keep a journal. Check out what I do in this next segment with the journals that I just was trusting my instincts, and my instincts were right, but I wouldn't have known my instincts were right if I wouldn't have kept a journal. Keep a journal when you're dealing with difficult people like this. All right, I'm out. 2012. Brienne tells me that she believes I don't want her skinny because I'm afraid that she will go and find another husband. I believe this struck me emotionally because I had a recent dream that she was with or wanted to be with someone else. Am I afraid of this truly? So I even had to ask myself, like, really, is this something that I'm afraid of, that I'm fearful of? But just because this is when you were doing the P90X or something like that, but you told me that I didn't want you skinny. So this is probably where you're always telling people that I always called you fat, and I'm sure you're always saying all that. Well, I can admit that I have said that you made a reference to your weight, maybe not even always in a put down way, but I know for a fact that your father called you fat many times, or made references to your weight as well. So it was never to just be cruel, but you always were concerned with your weight and whatnot. So hey, I used to try to encourage you to do what you got to do to accomplish your goals. But let's move on. Oh yeah, and this affair part. Am I afraid of this truly? Let's fast forward to 2013 and see what happened. Now this is interesting right here. So I titled this "Bad Feelings I'm Having." Man, I'm so happy I kept a journal. This was on 1/7/2013. So today I feel like Brienne is going to have an affair. I'm not sure why I'm feeling this way. Maybe I'm trying to blame her for something I'm considering myself. I often feel this way after having conversations with Brienne about our sex life. I enjoy having sex with Brienne, but I feel like she's so closed off that there's something she would like to tell me, but she does not know how to say it. I said a prayer for Brianne today, and I will commit my thoughts and actions to the Lord on this matter and trust that He will help me get clarity of my feelings on this matter. And then 1/5/2013, I offered to help Brianne with her weight loss goals by being her confident and or confidant and personal coach to keep her encouraged and accountable for the things that she says that she wants to do. But she rejected my offer and told me that she does not want my help. She can do it herself. Now, just I want to give me pause for a moment. So I want to focus on the bad feeling I was having here in 2013 about you having an affair. And then lo and behold, I caught you trying to have an affair once with Nakia Bligen, I think his name is. But let's take a look at this screenshot from your conversations you were having with him in 2013 while you were in Canada attempting to have an affair. So my bad feelings were correct. Man, boy, keeping a journal is huge. Huge. All right. And hey, thanks to the technology in the cloud, I was able to keep a screenshot there. So let's see what we got here. Here it is. Yeah, see? Nakia Bligen. I think they have. So he says, what you doing tonight? And then you responded, I'm in Canada. And he says, oh, geez, you suck. And then you responded, I know, come to the big city. It's been a while. And then he says, that's what's up. And you say, LOL, it's been a while. LOL. And wow. Ironically, I had a bad feeling that you were seeking to have an affair. And I wrote it down in a journal. And what I wrote down actually came true. But I'm crazy. Man, wow. But we don't talk nothing about this. I bet you this doesn't even come up in any of your conversations with anybody. How about you trying to cheat on me with some guy in 2013? And but I'm a terrible person. I'm just been this horrible husband and all this other nonsense. But look at this, man. This broke my heart when this happened in 2013. Broke my heart. But let's move on and see how you treated me on the day that we got married.